Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys, well, they fear to tread. How you doing, guys?
I'm doing very well. Very well. Well, look, we had one of the best races of the season so far, I think. But I still feel a little bit robbed. Do you know what I mean? I think we were robbed of a really good battle. But anyway, I'll explain all in a minute. So, what did you think, lads?
It was good. I feel like I got my money's worth.
Yes, yeah. At least there was somebody different up there, you know. And where the KTM got there's I don't know if that was just a stepped in shit and found an answer, or something they went down the right path, or did they do it on purpose? Did they do it by accident?
So I know I don't know why, but
Pecco. You know what? I'm more and more thinking that Pecco just doesn't have the speed of Marquez.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have the raw. He doesn't have the raw speed of Marquez. He doesn't have the raw speed of Martin. He doesn't have the it's how would you call it? It's the street fighter versus the boxer. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes in some situations, and they're like, that's what makes them more unique. Like Mark has the raw speed, so does Martin. Like you look at fucking Martin, right? Battered, coming back to his first race weekend, and he was like 1/10 of a second behind his perfectly fine teammate. You know what I mean? On a bike, he's fucking barely tested. Yes. People just have natural raw speed, right? And then there's people like Pecco who would sit down, review the data, think about it, execute it, done. And like, it's like, I suppose the last time we saw a kind of a battle like this would have been, the easiest way for me to put it in is Prost and Senna in Formula One, right? Senna was just pure raw speed. And I don't know if you ever saw Ayrton Senna going around Monaco with the manual gear shift. It was just like unfucking godly how he was in so control of the car, like nearly 1,000 horsepower, under his arse, right? One hand on the steering wheel, fucking sliding it around corners. No power steering or fuck all, like, do you know what I mean? And then you saw Alain Prost, who would never have the car out of alignment. Do you know what I mean? So look, it swings and roundabouts, really. They get there. Does Mark have a 2 or 3 tenths on Pecco at the moment? He does. Saying that, right, like, for me, I felt a little bit robbed on Saturday with Pecco's mistake. Down in 11th, you're like, by the time he gets there, he's going to use too much tire. And he did. Like, he got up to 3rd place or whatever, and his tire was gone. And I was kind of sitting there, and I was like, will you just fucking accept 3rd? Do you know what I mean? Just don't crash. Do you know what I mean? For fuck's sake, don't crash it now. Do you know what I mean? Because last year, that old Pecco would have said, "Oh, I'll take those fucking couple of 4 more points." Do you know what I mean? I need them. And
he was stretched. Yeah,
he was, right. And I know I saw a lot of people commenting in yesterday's video. Pecco's or Marquez in Pecco's head and this and the other. I don't think he owns that real estate yet. I think Pecco is more focused that there's a problem with his bike than what is going on with Mark. And that kind of comes back to the thinker's mentality of, and that's probably what's blocking Pecco from actually fixing the problem of what's wrong with his bike, right? He's continuously thinking about the problem rather than thinking about managing the problem. And it's 2 different mindsets, and that kind of sets Mark apart from everyone else, is that Mark will ride around anything. Whatever problem he's got, he'll just try and fucking push through it. Pedro Acosta is another one that's capable of doing the same. So for me, when I look at the difference between the two of them, I still don't believe Mark owns real estate in Pecco's head. Pecco knows what's going on, but Pecco's completely focused on himself and his problem, which he needs to understand that he needs to get around the problem or manage the problem. And it's very, very strange what he says, is that he's so sensitive to setup. right? And Davide Tardazzi confirmed this before any Anorex fucking think. It's my own opinion. But he is so sensitive to the setup of the bike. And
he has always been that way. That's nothing new.
Yeah, but he can, for some reason, when they change out the fuel tank and shift the balance of the bike, he cannot cope with the front end. He just loses all confidence in the front end of that bike, which is very strange. Like it's a head problem, right? And that's genuinely all it is.
It would change the balance of the bike, though. It would change the balance of the bike.
It would. It does big time. It does big time. And like it's kind of like when I heard it first, I was like, I can't change it that much. Do you know what I mean? But then when you look at it, right, like you talk about 0.5 mil change in suspension, will be absolutely epic, right, for a bike, right? Or look at take a tire pressure, lose a pound of pressure, or be a pound under the minimum pressure. You know, you're going to gain a performance advantage. So the really, really small, minute things make a change. And like I was going thinking to myself, like, okay, let's just say, for example, the tank is made out of aluminium or aluminum, if I'm a fucking American, right? Make it out of steel. Do you know what I mean? Show that smaller tank to get that weight or balance back. Do you know what I mean? Find some sort of solution to whatever that problem is, because then if a rider has a problem and you're going, well, the weight of the tank is actually the same, do you know what I mean? Then it's in your fucking head, kid. Do you know what I mean? Just get it going. But no, look, if I'm Pecco, I'm actually coming away after what happened Saturday. I'm actually coming away a lot happier today, you know, than I thought it. Like going into turn one, fuck it, like, you know, like it is so dangerous when you're in mid pack. It is so fucking dangerous, right?
Oh yeah, all it takes, elbows at 100 miles an hour.
Exactly.
That's how fast they're going, by the way, folks. They're going 100 mile an hour when they hit that first corner. It isn't like 30 miles an hour like it looks.
Yeah. They're moving. They're absolutely moving. And for me, when I look at it, I just, you know, if you can get out of the first corner, even holding position, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you've got to go. And then you saw it with Pecco. He started fast, used an awful lot of tire on the rear. And you could see him then when he was closing in. I think he was like 4/10 behind Mav or something towards the end. And you could just see the rear of the bike under acceleration. She was spinning like a fucking horse knickers, like, do you know what I mean? And it was over. Like, and you could tell, and you're like, just hold on. Do you know what I mean? If you can salvage a third, that's fucking good enough starting 11th in the grid. Do you know what I mean? It's good enough. Mark, on the other hand, you know, very lucky to stay on the bike when his brother hit him. Now, I looked at this, right? Like, it was a complete racing incident. Like, there was actually no blame on anyone here. Because, like, when you look at it, there's...
was it the blind spot? It looked like he was in his blind spot, and he just kind of cut him off.
Well, no, you see, like, Mark ran wide, and you could see that Alex thought that Mark might stay out a little bit more than he did, but he actually came back towards Alex. Alex had the gas open, and they touched. Not a major touch. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, something... brush. Enough to knock off a wing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So anyway... one thing I did notice, and it's something I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at Cota, and I'm going to look maybe at Argentina as well. There's some switch that goes off in Alex's head when he's not behind Mark, right? And like there was a couple of times in the opening laps of this race, Alex could have gone. He could have, like, if that was Pecco or if that was anyone else, he would have thrown it up the inside, but he didn't. He held back and he waited, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there and it's like going, what the fuck? And then you look at the incident with Diggia, right? Like, there was no way that move was ever on. Not going to fucking happen. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to throw it up the inside there. And he horses it fucking up the inside. And you're like going, what the actual fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? What the actual fuck are you doing?
It's human nature. He's going to treat his brother differently than he's going to treat somebody else. I'm sorry.
It is, but you know, at the end of the day, his fucking brother will blow it up the inside of him. Do you know what I mean? To get that race win. And
that way they do. Yeah.
But what the point I'm trying to make, I suppose, here is, I said this a couple of weeks ago. Mark is supremely comfortable when Alex is behind him. But when someone gets behind Mark that's not Alex, he doesn't seem very comfortable at all. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And you can see it. You can see how he tries to push on, and you could see that there was a middle point of the race when Pecco came past him. Mark was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" And he had to go, and you could see then he came back a little bit into the old Marquez. You could see the back of the bike starting to get a little bit leery and spin up, and then he can't down.
His brother's giving him a break.
I'm sure he has to. He has to be. But then look, the other side of the coin. Fucking Grassini might be like, hey, fucker, you know what I mean? You're in the place, you got to go. Like, do you know what I mean? So, yes, he is your brother, and yes, you love him, but like,
I mean, is he trying to reverse Marquez's strategy? Because Marquez's strategy is just to follow Alex until, you know, the end of the race. So maybe he's like, I'm gonna follow you and then jump in front of you and do what you do to me. I don't know, but.
I don't know. Look, I thought it was interesting, and I also think, and I suppose where I feel a little bit robbed, and I mentioned this, is that I think Diggia did have an answer for everyone today. I genuinely did. Looking at his race pace in the sprint yesterday, by far the fastest man on the track at the end of the sprint yesterday, right? Medium tires, so he already had the 10 laps worth of data, or 12 laps or whatever it was. He knew what was going to fucking happen here, and he was in a much better position. And silly moves. And look, to be fair, you know, it was definitely a ride-through penalty, 100%. But look, saying that, you know, Mark rode an outstanding race. I will 100% say it. You know, he kept, you know, he did a proper world champions ride. All right. And what I would class a world champions ride is win the race at the slowest pace possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what you need to do.
I think Bagnaia did a hell of a race too.
He did.
He just didn't have what it takes to win it. That you know.
No, well, he simply just ran out of tire. Like if Bagnaia started second row, right?
Yeah.
And did not have to use the tire in the opening laps, he would have been grand.
Right. Possible, yeah.
I mean, you never know with Bagnaia. I mean, he can be out front and then just lose it, or once he starts following somebody, he kind of gets uncomfortable. So I'd rather put money on Mark or I want to say Alex, but I don't know that. But anyway, I wouldn't put it on Pecco. He just, I don't know, man. He's just a little inconsistent.
He is, but look, he's finished every race, right? Mm-hmm. So like, look, you can talk consistent and inconsistent, right? He doesn't have the sprint race pace.
That's another thing. Yeah. That's what made him lose the championship is the sprint points, and then the inconsistency in the main race. He'll either win it or he'll crash.
Yeah, but you can't really say that now this year because he hasn't crashed in any race, right? So he's corrected that. He's kind of like, and this is what we were mentioning, is that he's taking his medicine when he knows he can't win, right? Which is a mark to prove it. Like, this is actually Pecco's best opening of the season ever. Do you know what I mean? He's got the most points, right? The problem is that he is Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez, both on really high confidence, loving the bike and enjoying their racing, and they're also there too. Remove the Marquez brothers, he's away in
back to where he was, yeah.
You know, so but he is still not comfortable. Well, sorry, he is more comfortable on the bike now. You can definitely see that he is more comfortable, except for the sprint. So they need to figure that out. They have 2 weeks to Jerez. They need to figure that shit out very, 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 very quickly.
And qualifying, no crashes during Q2.
Yeah, but look, crashes happen in qualifying. If you're not fucking crashing in qualifying, then you actually ain't going to that age that you need to go to. Do you know what I mean? And where his qualifying issue was that he didn't set that banker. Do you know what I mean? He went for it without a banker, and if he had that banker in there, then he would have been fine. And again, it's
banker lap. The one to sit there, banker lap is when you put one in early, just in case you have yellows at the end.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
You run out, without having your.
Yeah, exactly, and like it's also these fucking stupid games that go on. Like you could see Pecco was fucking around with Diggia Antonio. Do you know what I mean? Before he went out, and then you're like again, I always go through what Sylvain Gintoli says. He's like, activate the tires. And again, is Pecco fucking more thinking about Fabio Diggia Antonio than getting his fucking lap ready?
Like a toe?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like Fabio Diggia Antonio is not slow around Qatar. Do you know what I mean? And if you're towing him, you know what I mean? He's probably going to go ahead of you. Anyway, I did say I'd talk a little bit about KTM. And I'm 99% sure KTM have gone back to last year's bike, except for NA Bastianini.
Really? What give you that idea?
Well,
just say that I've had it on good authority.
Okay.
Yeah. Good authority that it's gone back, and it is. The only thing is the 25 engine in the 24 bike. That the three of them, Mav, Binder, and Acosta, are gone back to the 2024 bike.
For this race, for this past race.
Yeah.
And you heard here at MotoGP Mac with Scoops Mac.
Exclusive.
Yeah, Scoops Mac. Yeah. So from what I've heard is that NEA will continue on the 25 bike. But he will just do the development his own way on it. And I know someone in the comments was asking about why is he running the salad box with no wings and all of this. That's old news. He was doing that in Kota. I am not 100% sure. Did they run the 24 bike in Kota or what? But I'm going to call it a 24.7 because look, they have a new engine. I suppose they would have some new electronics and stuff like that, but the chassis and setup and that is definitely are definitely from 2024. So it is interesting. Maverick,
they looked better this race. KTM. Or is it kind of the same? I don't know.
Maverick looked the best. The rest of their the issues still appear to be there. They didn't shine like a diamond in a goat's arse. Like, do you know what I mean? They looked, and like, listen, look, we'll put it mildly, that we're coming up to mid-year June. Mid-break or mid-season break is what July. KTM could be down in Group C of concessions. Looking at the way Honda are going, Honda could be in Group C also, and Yamaha Group D. Do you know what I mean? And if KTM don't correct this current slide, by end of year they'd be in Group D.
Which, I mean, is that bad? I mean, you get more development, but
is it bad? Yeah, you're probably one of the borderline second, third. Do you know what I mean? Manufacturer there, and you've dropped to probably last. You can say, you've actually gone the fucking wrong way in your development. You have a 2027 project that we don't know are they actually funding or doing anything on. It's a whole big bag of poo that's starting to split at the seams. Do you know what I mean? And it's starting to leak and smell, and don't really.
That's a vision we didn't need there, Mac.
But that's what it's like inside the KTM garage right now, right? They don't know where they're going. Yeah, they don't know where they're going. They don't know what's coming up next. And it.
What's up with the freaking Aprilia?
There's nothing really up with the Aprilia. It's
the thing on two wheels long enough to make it.
I would put it to you this way: if Agora didn't get up there in qualifying and sprint race and this and that, okay, look, he made balls of this race, right? But if he wasn't up there, I would say there's something wrong with the bike. But I think there's something wrong with the riders. I think Bez is not getting the best out of it, out of the Aprilia, right? And that's it. And I think he's kind of hit a limit of where it goes. And when you look at Raul Fernandez, probably not the best feedback that you can get, right? Yeah, Agora hasn't a fucking clue, just fucking rides it like he stole it. It's his first experience. So like they are being really, really hampered by not having Jorge Martin, who had a fucking absolutely huge accident. My understanding currently is that there's nothing wrong with his hands, thankfully, but he does have it did take a big impact to his right thorax. And has been moved to hospital.
Thorax, what's the thorax?
Chest area. So
going through
it. Yeah, so it's just it's just one of these things. He didn't need to come back and have a big accident. Like, I would be surprised if he's there in Jerez. Like, do you know what I mean? So like, he did look like, you always know what kind of thing. I think they did 3 laps with him on the side of the track. I actually thought, and it's probably something the race direction need to look at, is like, if a rider is at the edge of the track bent over like that, they probably need to stop the race. Do you know what I mean?
They didn't want to do that.
Yeah, all I heard was, he's crashing, and you see him sitting there like laid down,
right, laying down.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, he's sitting up on his forearms, so you didn't know but it just didn't look good. He looked like he got the wind kicked out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but he just slid. I guess he took an impact to the chest and then started sliding. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, look, it was just it did look like Diggia hit him when he went down. No, did you look? So it's just one of those things.
When they first did that, it was a lousy film because you seen him far away, and then it had a jump, and then you could see it, and then he was down. Like they took out half the filming of him crashing. They didn't show it continuously.
Yeah. No. I saw it from head on where he went off. Like he like it, no, look, it was completely Jorge's mistake. Completely Jorge's mistake in the fact that he was up high in the curb, and the way the serrated edges of the curve, and he just lost the front, and he went down. But because where he went down, Diggi was coming behind him. I had nowhere really to go, and he fell on the right hand side. So, like, he did get a clatter, all right. I think so.
But I think Bez is it's his first year. I mean, he's mid pack. I mean, so. I mean, he's 7th in the championship. I mean, I give him.
Yeah, but he's
maybe I'm too nice. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
I mean, Aprilia, they're not even. They're mid though, right? Last year, they weren't really at the top. They were kind of midway.
Yeah. True.
So it's like, what all can you?
But they always say, but they have the best bike though. This the thing is, they have the best bike in the worst team.
They probably have the best aerodynamically developed bike, right? That is very fast until it gets into a dogfight. And as soon as that bike has to follow someone it's, how would I say? It's built like a Greek god. It's perfect in every single way, but only in a single type of environment. You put a bike that's putting off hot, dirty air off of the back of it, and that has to run through that. That's not perfect airflow that they've worked on inside in the wind tunnel. Do you know what I mean? And the bike therefore loses all its efficiency and this, that, and the other. And like you can see they're trying to find the happy medium that Ducati have found in the Aero package with, you know, the downward ducts and the bull sides, and it's just one of those things, I suppose, that are look, like it is just one of those things that you look at and you're just like, fuck it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like I would love to see Aprilia up there, week in, week out, right? And I think Jorge Martin will. I think he'll be a solid top 5, top 6 person all day long with it. If he gets into a dogfight with Mark, Pecco, Alex, I don't think the bike has the grunt to get it out, of the corners and to get into that fight. So yeah, so look, it's just one of those.
That's no good.
They had more. They got more top end out of it. Remember?
Yeah, they do. They've definitely worked on the engine, but I think they've they've got enough, but I think it's enough when they're coming out onto the track, or say coming out off a corner already with speed. If they had to recover speed, you know, let's just say they went deep and had to recover it, I don't think it would get up there as fast as say it would for a Ducati or whatnot, or a KTM. Like KTM's engine is fucking unbelievable in the straight line. It's going around the corner is the fucking problem. Yeah. And you know, like I would take a solace out of this, right? This was the very same with Ducati.
Yeah.
Right? If you remember Ducati,
you realize that?
Huh?
The Ducati inherently should be the slowest bike in the bunch because it doesn't have pneumatic valves. It has all the drag with that Desmotronic valve.
It doesn't look like it because they look good everywhere.
No, it's the fastest one, but you know, but it should be the slowest.
Well, look, there's an awful say that Ducati engine is not showing out its full horsepower, right? And it's probably not, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it comes with reliability comes slowness, right? And like, you know, the way those engines have to last now, you know, like you would be very surprised to see a Ducati engine blow up, even at end of life, right? Yeah. Or any manufacturer nowadays, right? So there's a massive safety margin in there. So, like realistically, if you were allowed to change your engine after every weekend, those bikes would be throwing out 400 horsepower fucking well easily. Like, do you know what I mean? So, so look, it is good. For me, Aldegar was one of the real surprises of the weekend for me. I thought, you know, I was like, you know, something that was fair play to you. That was really consistent out of him for the weekend.
For a rookie,
for a rookie, you know, look, what was it, 4th and 6th in the main race? Not a fucking bad weekend at all for him. Franco Morbidelli as well. Look, he's making pricks of a lot of us that said, you know, he's
I can't be mad at him.
Yeah, but still saying that. I still think he's in the injection seat.
He should have won that race.
Lads, I need to report this to you now. So
no, it's the ejection seat. Injection seat. That's
ejection seat, yeah. Maverick Vinales has received a 16th place grid penalty for tire pressures.
That's horrible.
Yeah. He's under investigation.
I mean, he has 16 places?
Yeah. Or sorry, 16 seconds, sorry.
No,
that's still a lot, though. 16 seconds is, they said that's like 20th.
Oh, you can't show for next 2 races.
Yeah, 16 seconds puts him, I think, in, I know this is just cheap maths, somewhere within 12th to 14th place.
Okay. That's kind of harsh. Why just give him a long lap penalty next race?
Well, look,
This whole thing.
it's the stupidest fucking rule ever, right? Look,
Yeah.
it really is. Like, a fella starts where? How many places back? He starts in 8th place, expects to run in fucking traffic. Do you know what I mean? Runs
Can't control it. You can't control the tire pressure during the race.
No. Ends up running out front for fucking X amount of laps.
It's crazy. Come
Yeah.
on, Simon. Is it Simon? Whoever?
It's not. No. This is the FIM.
Yeah.
But look, it's the stupidest fucking penalty ever. And look, I personally am gutted for him because look, it's probably one of the best races we've seen Maverick do since America last year. Not even Portugal. America, I thought.
That's it. This is probably gonna be his best race all season. And then you cut him, you knock him down on it.
Yeah. But look, anyway, that's
How do you
where it
think
is.
manufacturers feel? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So Pecco inherits second. Franco Morbidelli now goes to third. Fucking Johan Zarco, lads. What a fucking boy. What a fucking absolute legend. Like 5th place, well, now 4th place. Right?
Mhm.
You took the words out of my mouth on that one.
Yeah, I was like, fucking hell. Like, Honda definitely are going to come out of the concessions. Well, sorry, not fully out of the concession. They're definitely going to Group C anyway in mid-year. Unless they in the next like 2 or 3 races, like crash. Just fucking crash. Just crash. Like, just pull into the pits. No points. I don't give a fuck what you do. But no, look, it was a really good ride from it. And he was there on actual pace. Do you know what I mean? He made the tire. Again, I would call it race IQ. And got him there. Really, really good.
By the way, remember last time they were supposed to go on concessions and they said, no, we're just going to let him have it anyway. With when Marquez won. Remember that race? And he said, "Oh no, we're in the active competitiveness. We're going to let him have it anyway." It was supposed to be a unilateral decision to let him give the continued concessions. And Esposito went, "No, because even if they don't, even if the other teams don't allow it, we're going to allow it in a unilateral vote." In the active competitiveness, you got to remember because I hit the roof.
No, he didn't say this. No, what he said was,
"Hell, he did on TV."
No, all right, relax. I'll tell you his exact statement because I did do a video when this happened, so I do remember the article.
Bullshit.
He said he talked about concessions, and he said concessions are coming in regardless. That's what he said. If the teams agree with it, great. And if they don't, it's coming in. And then the teams did agree with it once
they said they had to. But
once. Sorry. So the meeting had already happened.
And when they lost it with Marquez winning.
Well, yeah. I remember that I remember that, Jake. But what I'm saying to you is that there was a meeting before it, and the meeting was all done and dusted, right?
Yeah.
And everything. The concession. Relax. Second. So the meeting was done and dusted. I can guarantee you, at that meeting, it was all agreed.
Oh God!
This was Carmelo Espeleta blowing his fucking balls out there, saying, "Yeah, well, even if they don't, we're going to do it." Right? It was all fucking agreed. Now, saying that, Jake, right? What you should be probably more pissed off about than the concessions is that out of that meeting, we've ended up with the 850cc engines.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can blame Ducati on that.
Yeah, but I remember you said that. You called that. He said, you said they probably hung it over their head that if they don't do it, they're going to get 850cc engines.
No, Ducati held Dorna to the 850 engines. It's Ducati are the fucking drivers of this. I can 100%.
They want the 850.
They want the 850. GG wants the 850 for something.
Why?
Don't know whether.
It's probably told them to cut their fueling or something. I don't see why. They have to be holding something over their head.
That's better for them. Less power is better for Ducati.
How so? They have the most power.
It's going to save. But you're saying they can't use all of it because it's going to blow. So
what? Both
you're saying, you're saying they can't use it because it will. The chance of it blowing is higher. So if you bring the power down, you can add more power.
That always happens, but they're not blowing. Their engines aren't blowing. Yamaha's engines are the ones that are blowing because it's inline 4.
They're maxed out. Yep.
Right, but they're not. Yeah. It's not the Ducatis. The Ducatis are V4s. They have a smaller crank. Smaller length, and they don't break.
But KTM's engine is the most powerful. That fucking thing is a fucking screamer. That is the most powerful engine out there. Just so people do.
Just so people know, right?
Anyway,
not the Aprilia. Not to get off topic, but
no. They're more than the Japanese and less than Ducati.
Yeah, well, look to talk about it. Who knows? Yeah, Yamaha.
It's sad.
I was fucking ecstatic yesterday for Fabio.
I thought about you, yeah.
And not many of you realize. I think it's 3 years since Fabio was on the front row of a grid.
That's crazy.
I didn't realize that either until he said it.
So it's just like, fuck it, yes. Fucking bringing it to the Ducatis. And like what I've said about the inline 4 is like when it comes out of corners that are not like a dirty hairpin, when they can carry a bit of speed through it, and they can carry that speed onto the straight, they're fine. But they've now gone. There's like the problem with there's nothing wrong with the Yamaha, except it completely eats its tires. So. And they still haven't figured a way out around that, and I really genuinely wonder. And this is something I was thinking about after yesterday, and I was like, is yesterday's result going to delay the deployment of the V4? And I think after today's result, I think it probably won't. Did you know what I mean? Right. I think I do genuinely think mid-season we're going to see a V4 Yamaha come out.
Yeah, because he was my favorite rider, right? And he comes up and he's third. And I was like, going, all right, I would have loved to seen him get the jump and come out on top.
Yeah,
and he went back like a sinking.
Yeah.
A sinking
he can never get the jump, and then two, he can't fight with that bike. He as soon as the first corner, he just drops back, drop.
But you see, that's the Yamaha is quite like. Excuse me. The Yamaha is quite like the Aprilia in that kind of space, right? Like it doesn't. It's like at times bringing a gun to a knife fight, or or a gun. A knife. What is it? Bringing a knife to a gunfight. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Because if they're on their own and they can lap at their own pace, no problem. Do you know what I mean? But as soon as they get in behind someone, they need that oomph to overtake. But it's not even the acceleration.
Mid-range. You're talking about.
And there's that, but like Yamaha are nowhere near running the aerodynamic package that Ducati have, or you can even see it, and it's something I always laugh at when I watch the Ducatis on the start line, is that they rock up and they turn the dial and the fucking thing just drops, right? Where like their rear ride height and front ride height devices are fucking light years ahead of what Yamaha have, right? And Yamaha are not going to fucking develop it, right? Because it's gone soon. Do you know what I mean? What's the point in putting fucking millions upon millions into the ride height? Do you know what I mean? But like you can even just see it. I was watching a couple of videos of them coming out of the last corner and the right height. And you could just see the Ducati is just like fucking butter coming out of the fucking
easy mode.
It's just like, arm out the window, smoke a fucking cigarette. You know what I mean?
Cruise control.
The bike just drives itself out of there. Do you know what I mean? You said it before it goes in. thing, and then you see the fucking Yamaha, and it's like a violent fucking drop coming out of the back of it. It's like it's like someone just fucking clipped the spring or something. She dropped, like, you know what I mean? Whereas
it's like Bart Simpson grabbing a hold of something, you know, like
yeah. So it's like
Right.
for me, like they're still so far behind, and then like even Honda, and like looking at the Honda, it looks a more natural bike to ride now. And like I know Haji says, oh, it's the new, what's his name, Romano fucking Espineno or whatever, has changed it around. And I think he's brought some structure there for sure, 100%. But that bike was designed last year when he wasn't fucking there, right? Do you know what I mean? And he can't just come in and go, just dial that 2 mil and that 3 mil, and sure we're laughing. Do you know what I mean? No one said. So look, I think
it's not a one-person job. No one person walks into a team and goes, "Okay, 100, there's 100 of you and one of me, and I'm going to figure it out for the rest of you." You know?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, look, I think, for me, the Honda Yamaha battle here is pretty one-sided this year. Do you know what I mean? And fucking kills me to say it. Like, do you know what I mean? It absolutely 100% fucking kills me to say it. Like, yeah, Joe. Like, the only saving grace now, right, is that Fabio has taken back his position as top Yamaha rider, but they're so far fucking off. Like Marini and them now are in Fabio's field of play. Do you know what I mean? Zarco's beating the tits off him.
Yeah. The shame is they're starting to get the same as they're starting to get momentum. And I'd give you odds that they're going to say, it's good enough, and they're going to cut the funding down, okay, or level out that funding, and go, let's just look for a good rider, and we'll leave the bike the way it is. It's good enough. That's they've had that MO for so long. You know,
I don't think that's going to happen with 27, Jake.
You think they learned a lesson?
I would be very surprised. I would be very surprised if they brought in a super alien for 27. I think no one's really going to take that risk. Well, I can't see Fabio taking that risk for 27.
They say they're looking for one. They're putting
top
out
rack.
Like, we're
bring in top rack.
We're going to spend money. You know what I mean? You put out there, we're going to spend, we're going to buy ourselves the best rider out there. You know?
Yeah. Maybe they could. Maybe.
Just more or less.
Like let's just say, right? Let's just float an idea, right? If Marquez wins the champion this year, next year, right? He's Rossi beaten. Does he go back to Honda?
He can.
He has his job done. Do you know what I mean? He now has the most world championships.
No, he ties him this year.
Yeah,
but he's saying this year and next year. Mm-hmm.
So then
he should win, right? He should win this year and next year, right?
If he wins this year, next year, he takes Rossi's record.
The next year part. Okay.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So then technically he has nothing else really to fuck around for, right? Like we're kind of getting into an era there where there's multiple people. Like you cannot say that Fermin Aldeguer or Ayagura are not showing pedigree to become world champions. Whereas right now they are, right? They're in the top 10 of the championship, I believe. Well, I don't know. I never looked at today's races, but they're near towards the top 10 of well, definitely one's in it, but I'm not sure where Aldeguer is. They're showing the pedigree. Like I can tell you this, and I put it to you this way: the two boys don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
They will horse that bike up the inside of you, whether you're Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia, Valentino Rossi, Jesus Christ. They don't care. Do you know what I mean? They will go straight to hell if they just to get that podium. Do you know what I mean? That's the way.
That's something to prove. It should be like that.
Exactly, and that's why I say I'm quite comfortable. For me, Now, look, I've seen a really interesting comment here from someone, Julian or Juan, sorry. Vinales did enough today to justify his career for another year, I think. Back into his shell for the rest of the season. No, it is being a little bit. It is being a little sarcastic. No, it's not saying that it is.
He may be right though.
I don't think so. Like fucking hell. Like you know. Look, Maverick is a great ride. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on Maverick, but Maverick needs to do this 5 or 6 times a year.
Yeah.
To keep his seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. KTM is harsh. They'll kick you.
Now, saying that though, if KTM are on the way fucking down, they probably need to have people. They probably need to have people there to that can actually develop the bike. Now, developing the bike and getting results from the bike, that is 2 different fucking things, really, I suppose. And I'm not sure if Mav is a bike developer. Do you know what I mean? And is any?
I've never heard him said this, described as a bike developer.
Yeah, and like you look at Enya, right? Enya openly said at the very start of the season, this bike does not suit my style, right? So Enya kind of knew that he was going to be towards the back of the grid, majority of it, for the first opening few races. And I think he's done a very cute thing by becoming a race tester. Oh yeah, I'll develop the 2035 bike. You know what I mean? Because it gives you an excuse.
You might as well. You're going to be in the back anyway. You might as well.
You know?
You might as
now,
well.
If Maverick, and Maverick, like in America, Maverick had a good run, good show, but today's show was where we would expect Maverick to be, right? But Maverick needs to do this 4, 5, 6 times, 6 race weekends in the year, in my view, to justify him for next year. Do you know what I mean?
Who said he was going as a back to I'm delayed here, a bike developer? Don't tell me that the kid, the Italian kid, we had so much. It was really good with tires. Could save tires real well.
Which fella?
Enia
Bastianini.
Yeah. Enia Bastianini was saying he's a developer.
No, I'm saying he's the developer because he's the only one on the G or on the 25 version of the KTM.
That's funny. That's funny because I remember him coming out and saying, "I don't know what to do with these bikes. I just get on them and ride them." And it's a known thing that I don't touch them. I don't talk back when I get. I just get it and I just tell me there's the bike. I jump on it and I ride away.
That's Maverick too. Maverick, he just jumps on and rides.
But you see, you have to look at Enia Bastianini and Maverick Vinales are the two most valuable people to KTM right now. Right, and I said this when Jack Miller went there as well, right?
Why would you say that?
Bastianini got off the best bike on the grid.
Right.
Right. So his value and stock is depleting by the day, right? But like
that's a fleeting cost, dude.
Right? But it was the same with Jack Miller, right? When Jack got off the Ducati and went there, right? You did see the following season there was a big surge in KTM, right? Because Jack gave them his feelings, what he was doing, how their systems work, all of this, yada yada yada, everything from the operational side to the mechanical side.
Mm-hmm.
Maverick and Enia are bringing that information with them, but from next year, that's zero, right? Because they already got everything out of them. And the following year, well, there's no fucking reference for anybody.
That's all they want. That's all KTM wants is that information.
That information that's in their head. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So and I said it like with Jack and this, that, and the other is that like Honda did it.
About that though, but KTM is such a different, so radically different than everybody else's bikes that you would think they would deplete the value of their information.
No, because how that Ducati ride height system works.
But on their bike, yeah, but their bike is so different the way it's structured. It
is, but again,
frame carbon fiber frame versus an aluminum box section frame. You know.
Yeah, but they can tell. Like for example, any Massanini can describe what the Ducati does during the corner, how it feels, how it flexes, how it gives it. All of that stuff is fucking gold, right? Now what they have, right, this year is what they have is the bike goes into the corner, it fucking shudders. You're crossing your testicles, hoping that you don't end up in your fucking face. Do you know what I mean? And they can't find the excuse or reason and for it. Also,
I can. It's a little tough though.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know. Do you ever see Rossi when he used to go to the grading?
Right, I don't know.
Depends which one's lower. Anyway, you know yourself, but it's one of those things, and their value completely drops after a year or so. Then, but look, we have the usual, like KTM are in a serious issue. Like take out Maverick, I'll add Maverick in. Like Acosta in 8th place is the highest one. Then you have fucking Bassanini 12th, Binder 14th. That's
they're on the same place.
It's just fucking It's definitely a case of fucking. But lads, the most serious question I have, right? What was Raul Fernandez' excuse today? What excuse is he going to come up with for his weekend's failure?
Bad taco.
Yeah. What do you think, CB? Because like he's in an awful fucking place. Like mentally now he has.
He was talking to Biden and all those people, and it's white supremacists.
So he has 5 points this season.
Mm-hmm.
His rookie teammate, who is now 9th, has 29.
Crazy.
29 points. Like
he's asleep.
That's just fucking ridiculous.
It's probably his last year.
Has to be like they can't even you couldn't even justify keeping him past mid-season. Are you not better to take your next fucking rookie from Moto 2 mid-season and be like, here you go, fella. Let's learn these 3 or 4 races with you. Or 5 races, 6 races.
The way they get paid, the amount that they get paid, it's good to show an example of. Listen, you don't get a paycheck just for showing up, and you don't get this huge paycheck for showing up. This way, you say, "Listen, last guy, see what he did, and he got fired. We kicked him out halfway through the season."
Yeah, well, look. I suppose there needs to be a bit of structure around that, right? Because we saw it, we've seen it.
Gone. That bullshit's history.
There needs to be a bit of structure around it, right? Because we did see it during the season last year, fella that was performing and they just fucked him out because they wanted someone else, right?
Right.
If it's going to be like that, there's no point having a contract, right? But someone who is underperforming, like 5 points, 4 race weekends down,
in a poor territory.
Yeah, you're kind of you're sending off alarm bells. I suppose we can't be too fucking harsh on them because Maverick Vinales currently has 8.
The only thing that I can think of is that they're just like, hey, we're going to pay you basically nothing, and you're going to be development. You're going to just test all these parts and take what we give you, like wage-wise. And that's
would you ride a MotoGP bike for nothing? I fucking would.
I would, yeah, hell yeah. I ride it for free.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. You know, you don't like sometimes. And anyway, look, it kind of makes no difference. But I think, look, realistically, he's in the ejection seat, and I think that button is going to be pressed. Another button that's going to definitely be pressed, lads, is the Pedro Acosta and KTM button.
Don't blame it.
He has 24 points.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a waste. That's a waste of talent right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
that might not look like the case because they did well today, but that was a one-off.
I think it was a one-off there too. I think, like you look at the championship for the KTM riders, right? You have Acosta 11th, 24 points. Brad 12th, 22 points. Ini Bastianini 13th, 21 points. Maverick Vinales 18th, 8 points.
Yeah,
people
don't think of Qatar as a speed track, and it's not, but it's a horsepower track. It says enough. It looks like it needs a lot of grunt, a lot of mid range.
Well, look,
mid-range takes horsepower.
It is funny that you say that because it is quite a fast circuit, right? There is fast flowing corners in it.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, you could see in the right hand corners, and if you were watching the timing, you could see left-handers today, you could see Mark pull that 10th. Right-handers, you could see Pecco pull that little 10th when they were there. It was really interesting to watch. But teams championship, lads, right? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Manufacturers. You ready?
Ducati, Aprilia.
Ducati, 148 points.
Okay.
Honda, 49 points.
I thought they said Aprilia. They threw me. They said Aprilia today.
No. Third, Aprilia, 43 points. Fourth, KTM, 42 points. Fifth, Yamaha, 42 points.
Yamaha, long way off.
Yeah. That's the Constructor Championship.
V4.
I think they need to, yeah. And then the Teams Championship, as in the teams, Ducati Lenovo, 220 points scored. Then Grassini, 126. Then VR46, 126. Red Bull KTM 46, Monster Energy Yamaha 44, LCR Honda 38, Castrol Honda 36, Trackhouse 34, Aprilia Racing 33, Red Bull KTM Tech 3 29, and Pramac Yamaha 24.
That is concerning because it seems like if Honda is doing better than Yamaha, it's almost like Yamaha has basically done nothing. It seems like.
It depends on how many riders you got out there too with the constructor title.
I have a very sneaky suspicion that Yamaha are not developing the inline 4 chassis. They're fully focused on the launch for the V4. I think all the funding and everything is going towards that.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's why. I have a feeling that Ducati is just sitting on their hands, and they're doing the same thing. They're working on the 850 project.
Well, let's look realistically, right? We have the Jerez test coming up. What, in 2 weeks' time? This day, 2 weeks' time, there will be the Jerez test. I think I'll be wrong.
That's be Catalonia.
List view Qatar.
That's Moto E. Sorry, it's Moto E.
Spain, yeah. I think we have the Qatar. We have the Jerez and the Jerez test, and I think that would be a big test for all really. Ducati, I know they're bringing a significant amount of parts. KTM, as well. And I really genuinely wonder, is this when we're going to see the first roar of the Yamaha V4?
So you saying that would be mid-season?
No, I think 2.5 weeks time or 2 weeks time we could see the first rollout of a V4 as a test.
Okay.
When will we see it in the race? I think it would be mid-season, unless there's a night and day fucking difference. You know
So they can bring it in.
They can bring it in at any stage because they're allowed to do engine development during the year. So, like realistically, if you can put it in the way of they would show the way they're limited to 9 engines or whatever it is. They would only ever put a seal on 2 engines at a time, right, at the start of the season, and then if they need another one, they'll put a seal on that, but they won't seal the engine
for the test it?
Until they're about to use it.
Okay.
If you get me. And also that they have even though they can develop and change parts, if they change a part or whatnot, they have to send a whole new engine blueprint over to the FIM to technically homologate that engine for running. Does that make sense? Even though that they're free to change the parts, but they have to give the FIM. But it's going to be.
So you can develop it during the test, but you can't use it until it's sealed.
Yeah. So the minute you use it, you have to have the homologation for that engine.
Right.
Once
they're not allowed to use the V4 yet. They're not going. That doesn't come in until
they can use. No, they can use the V4 next week if they want to. They can't use the 850. Yeah, they can't use the 850. They have to use the 1000.
1000. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But they can take a V4 of 1000 and put it in there, right?
Yeah, 100%. Which they have developed, and I reckon that we're going to see from mid-year. Really.
You really think that?
Mid this year.
That's a costly endeavor.
Yeah, but they have to find out the answer. Is the V4 better than the inline 4 before they fucking go down and go the wrong way in development?
Yeah,
27.
It is better.
No.
Yeah.
We've seen the past 2 years they've been falling back and back and back. I mean they.
Yeah. So look, they have to do it, but with the regulations coming in for 27 and all of this, there's a lot of stuff that I think they're still cutting corners. If I'm very honest, right? They don't have endless funding. They can't develop the right height, or they shouldn't develop the right height if it's going to go in a year's time. Do you know what I mean? What they need to do is they need to understand, or if I was cute, I would be starting to develop my bike in somewhat line of the 2027 regulations. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And start trying to hit the ground running, because everything is going to be up in a fucking shit heap. Like everything is going to be in the shit heap, because obviously you're going to have a whole new bike, you're going to have whole new tires, everything. Like raw data, and while Pirelli have come out and said, "Oh look, we can test with the thousands," as in the 1000cc MotoGP bikes, it's not really going to be completely accurate. Do you know what I mean? I think what Pirelli will be testing is more so destruction testing, in the way of like, will these bikes survive going around a corner, and what does the current MotoGP Aero load look like? Like you can be guaranteed fucking teed that Michelin aren't going to share that fucking data with them. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So they need to find out. And like right now, yes, there's a load of very intelligent people in Pirelli working it out, right? But really, it's like putting your finger in the air and going, I think it's fucking half a kilo of weight that has gone down on it. So anyway.
Really, you can't put too much into it. They can't put too much development into it, because you don't know what well, Yamaha especially, because they don't know what motor or engine they want, configuration, and then the tires. You can have, like you said, you can have the best engine in the world, but
exactly. And look, people don't yet know. People don't yet know what is the best thing, right? Like I would absolutely piss myself laughing if everyone went to inline 4 for the 850 Fucking Yamaha went to fucking V4. Do you know what I mean? You're
It'll be
like,
crazy.
Hey,
Yeah, 850 is actually better for inline four.
it is, yeah. Well, look, anyway, it is pretty.
Oh man,
We lost him.
we lost him. Oh man.
He's
Hopefully he pops back in.
yeah.
Man.
Oh, now what can we talk about? Yeah,
No, I wanted to. Hey, I'm thinking, but I'm thinking if they go in. Oh, there he is. I was thinking Yamaha should go inline for the 800s.
huh?
Yeah, there he's back.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I got
You're
it.
thinking to go inline for the 850.
850. Yeah, it'll go inline. I mean, you're gonna have more power, and then you won't without it blowing up. So,
Less power, so it won't blow up.
so it won't blow up. Yeah, so they can get more
I was
use out
wondering
of it,
that
more power.
myself. I was wondering if do they actually need to go V4 if
Nope.
going out with this less, with it being that now they have less power, so therefore it ain't going to affect that.
Right. They don't need it.
Rank isn't going to be affected. You know.
Yeah, but look, it all just depends on what way they're going to develop the bike, right? And then the bikes are going to be developed for high cornering speed rather than grunt out of the corner, right? And yes, we know V4s are slower. Well, I'm going to say were, but with the Aero development and all of this, the V4s are as fast as the inline fours through the high speed corners now, where the inline four used to have the advantage. So it all depends on how they're going to package that bike with the Aero and whatnot, right? Because again, let's go back to it, right? If you can run a skinnier bike and have a little bit more Aero tweaks going on the inside of that fairing that's not visible to the world, is that better than having a bulkier bike? Do you know what I mean? So again,
that's worse, isn't it? If you have the V4 with less Aero, that's
no. The inline four would have less Aero because it's a fatter. The inline four is longer across the rails.
It's wider.
It's wider, so you can have less Aero internally. Let's just call it. Do you know what I mean? So it all again. It just depends what way you're going to cool your bike and stuff, and drive air through it. And that's where, look, I suppose that's where the magic of the engineering comes in, is that like what factory is going to get the jump in 2027? Is it going to be Ducati? Does Gigi have a magic fucking extra propeller or fucking something? I don't know. You know, there is an awful lot left, or there is an awful lot that's still unknown for it, and I think Dorna don't even know themselves either. Do you know what I mean? They don't know what's going to happen. And that's kind of interesting, and we know.
You would think they would, though. You know,
you would think so until but you just don't know what factory is going to come. Like, for all we fucking know, lads, Honda and Yamaha can come out and absolutely fucking piss them. We just don't know, and no one knows, and it's kind of the exciting thing about a whole regulation change of where they're dumping things on their head. As long as they get it somewhat right, that everyone gets the same, and so far from the regulations, right, everyone has the same unknown feeling. Every manufacturer, I mean, right, and everyone gets concessions for the first 6 months of when it comes out. So everyone is starting on the same start line.
Yes.
Right, and then we see where it goes.
What we have now, but anyhow.
Yeah.
Yes. Concession shit should have went down to flush down the tubes ages ago, years ago.
Well, look, I don't think Honda would have caught up if they didn't have concessions.
I think they would have. I think they would have. I really do.
Not with the same amount of testing, they wouldn't.
I think it's necessity is the mother of invention, and I think they would have, because they've had on their hands for so long. I don't care
what. That's my whole point, Jake.
Exactly.
You've sat on your arse for so long, done
Yeah.
fuck all, right?
But
And-
if they didn't have concessions, I bet you they wouldn't. They'd have got their ass up and started moving.
I know. I think they got their ass up and moving because they had the concessions. Because now they had no fucking excuse, none.
Yeah, but if yeah, and then but if no one had concessions, everybody had everybody had concessions. They know they have to get their ass in gear or they're going to get blown away.
They would have fallen further. Like if you gave Ducati half of the concessions that that any other team had, like Yamaha or Honda have, Ducati be another half second down the fucking road.
Yeah, they'll be gone. That's what Ducati did. They took what they had and made it better.
They're a
And
strong,
Hon-
yes, they're a stronger
Mhm.
engineering company. Is what you're saying.
Honda did the opposite.
Inherently better.
Take a fat fella joining bodybuilding. Yeah, he'll get major results very quickly. He'll lose weight and start getting things. And then you try and get the fucker to build muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's just going to take months and years. Whereas you have a fella who's already starting off ripped, right? He's going to go through the muscle gain process months faster than thing, and then they're going to be working out the same amount and doing the same fucking things. The gap is always going to be there, and so I don't agree with the concessions. I don't think anyone should get an easy fucking start, or give it all for everyone. Like, you know, maybe you get 10 extra sets of tires. Nothing majorly life changing. Do you know what I mean? But at the end,
No extra development or testing. You saying?
Well, yeah, but like you lock in your engine. Your engine's locked in. Do you know what I mean? Get that fundamentally right.
No hindering people's other people's
development. Yeah. I agree with that.
But look, that's the other side of racing, lads, and like something I know very, very well is that like my job. Let's just say tomorrow morning, my name is Davide Tardazzi, right? My job, and part of my job, is to make it fucking as hard as possible for any other team to get any sort of advantage over me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Do you know what I mean?
So you know damn well that somebody's going to end up copying. If they see how it's made, or they have an inkling of a direction to go, they'll end up copying it.
But it's true. But like again, so let's put it this way. So you come out with the new latest and greatest tech, and you're the only one there, and it's a massive advantage and whatever. My job as a team manager is to go to the FIM and whinge my fucking hole off to get that ban because we don't have the money to fucking develop it, or time, or we didn't think of it. That's just the nature of the beast.
If you're the guy, but they shouldn't allow it to happen though. That's the FIM fuck up because
it is. But look,
like you gotta figure out how to figure out what they did. And and they'll go back and they'll get it done. If they look and how and get everything, it just pisses everybody off, and eventually.
But look at the World Super Sport Championship, right? So we had the 600s last year, right, or the year before with the Ducati, right, and the Ducati pissed them, right. This year, though, we have the R9, isn't it? And the R9 is fucking pissing the Ducati.
Is it?
They won it again today, didn't it? And beat it again the last time out. And you're just like, and then you look at the World Superbikes, right? Like BMW got a concession last year for the frame, right?
So did Ducati.
They didn't get a frame one.
I thought they did.
Nope, not for the frame. And then they got they obviously.
No, you're right. It was Ducati never gets a concession. It's Honda and Honda and
Honda and Ducati.
Honda.
Yeah, Honda and BMW.
Helping out Ducati, they are never going to help out Ducati. Jesus Christ!
Well, no, that's
nails in the parking lot.
Yeah, but that thing, like going down the fucking straight, was just sickening for everything fucking else. Like to be fair to it, right? And like Toprak was whinging then because they put the fuel flow restriction on them and the Ducati, right? It didn't fucking slow the Ducati down too much. slow down Toprak. But it didn't slow down the Ducati too much, you know. But these rules come in for different stupid fucking reasons. But like you do look at the I think it's the World Super Sport, and there was a couple of people with raised eyebrows after the first race Super Sport race, and they were like, "What's the fucking R9s where they fucking sandbagging?" Like, it compared to the Ducatis. But look, I think you can talk about rules and whether you like it or dislike it. You know, it is good to see other manufacturers getting up there. It's poor to see ones that we thought would already be up there, as in like the likes of KTM and Aprilia going backwards. And it is kind of a little bit of a worry that, you know, are they slipping back down or what is it? I genuinely don't know. I don't think it's on purpose. Which does worry me. Anyway, I think that's everything from me. Anything else you want to go through?
No, just I hate anything with regulations that hinders anybody. It's always bullshit. It always comes back, and it's always this Japanese have to win at all costs. It's going to screw everything up.
Well, look, the Japanese don't look anywhere near winning anything anytime fucking soon. Realistically, let's just go to that points championship. Ducati are already 100 points fucking clear.
And you know, I would have the same view if it was flipped. If it was they helped out Ducati and the Europeans and.
But look, I suppose it's very easy to kind of. I think it's very easy kind of saying that right now, right? Because Ducati are right on top, and they are on top, lads. Look, there's fucking no other bike that comes near that fucking bike. You can put a fucking baby on that bike and you'll probably lap faster. You know, and
it's looking like,
right, and that is a credit.
Huh? BMW made a jump up.
The BMW has made a jump up, but they got a concession, Jake.
Yeah,
you know. They did, and they did get a big concession to change the frame, and it lowers the fucking seat unit.
I don't think they should have got it, but anyhow.
But as soon as they got it, Toprak came fucking into it. Do you know what I mean? Not came into it, but it worked for Toprak. Do you know what I mean? But when you look at MotoGP, Ducati are running away with it. You know, I think it's at 19 races on the bounce that a Ducati has now won.
Yeah,
undefeated in 19. You know, they're in a good spot. They're happy. This current set of regulations suits Ducati. How do we know? And I suppose, Jake, where I would be with the concessions, I do not agree with them. However, the precedence is now set. And if in the 2027 regs the Ducati go fucking miles wrong, or they go fucking the complete opposite way of whatnot, that those regulations are available to Ducati if needed. Now, if they're not, but I think I think concessions will be here for another couple of years. That's what I genuinely think. Unfortunately. And I suppose on that bombshell, we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining, as usual. No rants or start off of podcast rants from me this week. And those assholes have decided to fuck off, which is great.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that bombshell, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see everyone again next week.